Hey, welcome to the podcast. This is the surge effect on this podcast. Well, it'll probably have an effect on you.
Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Surge Effect. Today's episode of the Surge Effect, we're going to be talking about the rally that my wife and I went to the other night in Kitchener, Ontario. It was a great crowd, so I'm going to cover a little bit of that, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Pierre Poilievres, and I'm going to talk about Mark Carneys and some of his mistruths. You might call it misinformation or disinformation or malinformation, but however you slice or dice it, when you were growing up and you made a lie and you lied to your parents, it was a lie, okay? Anyway, I'm going to cover some of that as well. So we're going to start right away here with how the Kitchener rally started off the other night. So let's get at it. So this is all of us,
ladies and gentlemen,
basically right at the very, very start, and singing Canada's anthem.
If you are able, please stand for the Canadian
Winky at the
anthem.
very, very start, so your sound's a little off, but we get her going.
Oh, Canada.
That was great. That was great. Fantastic. And like I said, my wife and I were there, and it was about, I'm saying 6,000 people, possibly 6,500. It was a hell of a turnout for sure. So I'm just going to show you, this is somebody just doing a panning of the crowd. Massive, massive crowd. The energy was incredible. My wife and I had the opportunity to sit with Helga, so big shout out to Helga. And we also were sitting behind Lynn. Big shout out to Lynn. Thanks for subscribing. Don't forget to send my channel around as much as you can. Share some of the things that I post. So this is me just taking some video clips of video footage of the crowds that was there that night. And this is at the start. My wife and I got there at shortly after 4 o'clock. And this is like a couple hours early before it was like super packed. I can't play that too much because I'll probably get a copyright strike. So I'm just going to fast forward a little bit. And that was massive, massive crowds. Put it around the room again. We had great seats. We were just 4 rows back, 3 rows back from the stage. Like I said, this was around shortly after 4 o'clock, and it's a lot of people, and it was electric. It really was. So a shout out to the pleb. The pleb goes to all of these rallies, and of course we've been following the pleb. My wife and I have been following the pleb since the trucker rally, since the trucker protest in Ottawa.
You want to take it?
Come on in. All right, guys, we're snapping shots, working the crowd. How's it going? Beautiful. Look at this lineup of people, because I'm not walking down the lineup. Now there's a lineup of people wanting to take shots.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Nice to see you.
I'm Allison.
Hi, nice to meet you. Where are you guys from?
2 hours north.
You drove 2 hours to come to this rally? That is dedication. I love that.
Well, and to thank you for everything you do.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Oh, wow, we got a super chat. Thank you.
I've actually sent you stuff before.
That's your YouTube channel?
My channel, yeah.
All right, The Surge Effect. What kind of videos do you make?
It's like yours, man.
Oh, really? You cover politics?
Yeah, I've sent you DMs before. I took pictures when you were in Edmonton the other night, and you had 10,000 people in your channel.
I got to check out your channel.
Yeah.
Awesome.
great.
What does your shirt say? What does your hoodie say? Freedom over fear, right?
Yeah.
I love it. Let's go. Real patriots right here.
Freedom over fear. So right after that, we took a picture with the pleb, and he's a fun guy, man. And like I said, big shout out to the pleb. So the crowds, of course, were amazing. And speaking of the pleb, I'll keep it going here, but this is Anna just before she's talking, and she looks up because someone's up on a ladder. And who would that be?
Is that the pleb?
That was fun. The pleb was up a ladder, and he was doing an aerial shot of the crowd. It was fantastic. Like I said, it was like super, super energetic. Leave your comments below if you were there in Kitchener and you happen to see us. But there's Pierre there doing his thing, and there's an overhead shot, of course, of the crowd. It like I said, it was electric, and it was fantastic, and it was awesome. Here's Pierre leaving. This guy is like amazing. He was like walking out in the crowd there when he was leaving, and people were hugging him, and he was hugging people. That's why I did a podcast a couple days ago in regards to the polls, and don't believe the polls, just because. And when you see what goes on, and you see how this man, this Canadian man, talks and deals with people, and it's amazing. I just can't say enough good about this guy. Hey, we all have our faults. I'm sure he has faults, and I'm sure, there's things that he says that people don't agree with, and I get that. But for the most part, everything that he says, I think most people in Canada are aligned with him. They're just aligned with what this guy's saying. After 10 years of the Liberals and what they've done to my fellow Canadians, boys and girls, brothers and sisters, I think it's a crying shame. It's a crime what the Liberals have done to the Canadian people. And it's simple, right? Ask yourself a question. Is your life better or is it worse? It's that simple. Is it better or is it worse? And if it's worse, then you know what you have to do. Actually, my wife and I were talking about this the other day, that it's almost like this is like the trucker convoy 2.0. This movement, this Pierre Poilievres movement is like this. And it's like I said, it's electric, and it's palpable. You can feel this when you're in amongst people that have been following this movement across our great nation, and hopefully it's going to get greater. So here I'm going to show you a few videos of Pierre Poilievres talking about different things, because a lot of people think that he's for stuff and against stuff. Well, here's him right out of his own mouth, right out of his own lips, his own voice, his words. He's talking about the World Economic Forum. I've covered this numerous times. World Economic Forum, WEF. It's in Davos, Switzerland. It was created by Klaus Schwab, whose father was a Nazi. And these people are globalists. Mark Carneys is admitted to being a globalist. It's no secret. And he's also part of the WEF. Well, I don't know about you, but I didn't vote for anyone for the WEF. I don't want anyone in the WEF. I don't want globalists telling me what we should be doing on our soil. I don't like any of it. And I don't think Pierre does either. And here he is.
When you're elected Prime Minister, will you cut those ties with the World Economic Forum?
Well, I don't like the World Economic Forum. I don't agree with their publicly stated policy agenda. And as a result, I won't be attending any of their meetings in Davos or anywhere else, and nor will my ministers.
Okay.
Just like that, World Economic Forum. He's also been asked about abortion or women's rights and how he feels about that. And people may or may not know, but this has been their policy for quite some time. Listen up.
The local candidate here in St. Catharines, and his work with the anti-abortion folks in Florida. It was he called it the most important experience in his pro-life journey. And the Genocide Awareness Project graphically compared the victims of abortion to victims of other atrocities, such as Jews in the Holocaust. Part of the platform, or part of the party policy, is to allow a free vote in the Commons when there's enough interest in it. Is that something you're willing to promise him?
I can guarantee you there will be no laws restricting abortion passed when I'm Prime Minister. For 20 years, the policy of the Conservative Party has been that there will be no restrictions brought in on a woman's right to choose. It's been in our policy since it was adopted by our party members in the year 2004. So this is a 21-year policy adopted by our members and upheld at all of our subsequent conventions. So there will be no laws or other restrictions imposed on a woman's right to decide to do with her body as she wishes. And that is something that I'm guaranteeing to you and to all Canadians.
So he said the same thing during COVID, the exact same thing during COVID about right to choose. Should have the right to choose. And people say, oh, he didn't stick up for the convoy and everything else. Well, actually, he was the only one that did. And when people asked him about it, he actually said he's all for freedom. He's about freedom. Anyone that's not for freedom, I just can't quite wrap my head around it. But like I said, he's big on it. He's all about it. And the other night when he was in Edmonton, there was over 10,000 people. Some say 12, some say 13. But Stephen Harper was up talking, and this is when he endorsed Pierre, and this is what he said.
Who can say that I am the only person who can say that both of the men running to be Prime Minister once worked for me. And in that regard, my choice, without hesitation, without equivocation, without a shadow of a doubt, is Pierre Poilievres.
He also goes on to say about, because Mark Carneys said that he was the one that that fixed the 2008 crisis that Canada went through, during the stock market crash, of course, in 2008. And it actually wasn't quite true. So I'm not sure what's going on here, but here's Stephen Harper, if I can nail it down for the time frame.
I say that as the guy who actually did lead Canada through the global financial crisis.
There you go.
I hear there's someone else claiming it was him.
So there you go. There is a clip where Mark Carney, he says that he led Canada through the 2008 financial crisis, when in fact it was that man right there, our Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, at the time. So I'm going to keep moving forward here and showing you some clips and some pictures about different things. So this is one here of Canada First. And why not Canada first? Canada should always be first. Whoever's looking after this country should always be looking after our country first, not other countries. So our Canada First conservative plan right here, mandatory life sentences for gun smugglers, human traffickers, and fentanyl kingpins. our income tax by 15% of the average Canadian. Cut the income tax. Eliminate GST on the new home purchases under 1.3 million. Introduce a Canada First reinvestment tax cut. Rapidly approve job-creating projects. The list goes on and on. Eliminating the industrial carbon tax. Increasing the TFSA contribution by $5,000. Axe GST on new vehicles manufactured in Canada. Rebuild our military and protect our borders. List goes on and on. Anyone that knows anything about our military course, it definitely needs improved. And anyone that's served or anyone that's retired or medical leave or whatever knows the state of the Canadian military. It's not the greatest. So as I keep moving down here with some video clips and some pictures, here's one here. This fella's name here is Mark Nixon. He talks about, I've said this before in my podcast, I can't understand how our government is literally prorogued. It's shut down. It's been out of service for like 90 days or almost 100 days, but shit's getting done. We're spending our money overseas and all this other stuff is going on, and it shouldn't. So here's Mark Nixon talking about money that was dispersed. This will shock you. Shock you.
I had to make a video. This is absolutely insane. The Governor General authorized $40.3 billion in spending, and Parliament has been shut down for 94 consecutive days. And guess what? In the amount that they put aside was almost $180 million for CBC, just in time for coverage in this election. One of the best investigative reporters in Canada that's independent is Andy Lee. She does such an amazing job, something that our mainstream media doesn't do. And she provided a list of all of the dollars that are put aside with this $40.3 billion. And you are not going to believe what she found. And get this, if you just took a look at this one, this is the Canada Revenue Agency. $663 million for them to go after you and your taxes. And now let's take a look. Right here is CBC, $178.1 million to CBC. This is from April 1st to April 15th, ladies and gentlemen. And this is where your mind is literally going to explode. If you look at CSIS, which is this line right here, Canada Security Intelligence Services, $127 million. So you're telling me that CBC needs to get more funding than CSIS? This is mind-blasting. And the reason I say this is we currently know that there's 11 MPs that we don't even know who they are that are currently working for our government, and they're up potentially for re-election that is working for foreign actors. And we know for a fact that our previous elections has been infiltrated with foreign interference, and we're currently undergoing an election in Canada. And CBC gets significantly more money than CSIS? You can't make any of this stuff up, Canada. Share this with everyone you know. This is incredible.
So there you go. Thank you, Mark, for that. It was awesome. This is the thing, right? Mainstream media only feeds people. You know, people are going to eat what they're fed, and mainstream media feeds them, and then they eat it, and that's it. When you have podcasters or YouTubers doing sharing information, doing some research, finding out other stuff, spread it around, share it with other people. I take these short clips, some of them off my podcast, and throw them on my channel as well. Share them and like them. It helps with the algorithm, that's for sure. That's why I watch The Pleb, and I watch Mr. Sunshine Baby, and I watch Moose on the Loose, David. I watch all these guys. I like to spread the word about who these guys are because I watch them. I enjoy listening what they say because it gives you a different idea what's going on in our country. Because like I said, when you have globalists like Mark Carney, who's running for our prime minister, and he just calls it like a snap election, there's more to it than what's, that meets the eye. He wants to rush through all this. Well, like I said in other podcasts, less than 140,000 people, 86% of those people voted for this guy. There's 41 million people in Canada, right? So people follow politics in the States, for instance. Kamala Harris got in with not even one delegate vote, and she was running for president. It's kind of weird, right? And that's what's happening here. This guy's never been in politics in his life. People go, oh, well, he doesn't really know much about politics, or what's Pierre ever done, or blah, blah, blah. Well, Pierre knows politics because this is his life. That's what Pierre's done. So he'll be the best man for the job. This guy here, he is not the best man for the job. And if you don't believe that he is not the best man for the job, let me just read a couple of things that I've read in the past here. And this is if Carney gets in. I call him carbon tax Carney, but carbon tax Carney. That's what I call him. If he gets in, he's got globalist ties, okay? And his prominent role for the World Economic Forum, it just raises, I think, a lot of fears with his priorities and his agendas as far as Canada's sovereignty goes. He's a climate zealot. He's over the top. He wants net zero and all this other nonsense, and it's a joke. It's a scam, and he's a big advocate for carbon tax. Huge advocate for it. So it increases our living costs in here in Canada, and that's just a fact, right? All our stuff gets hammered with taxes. He opposes energy sector opposition. Think about that. This is Bill C-69. He opposes us using our own resources in our country to make us money. Wrong. Economic management. He critiques, he argues a tenure at the Bank of England. It failed. It failed miserably, and he was in charge of that in the Bank of England. So economic mismanagement. He's got an elitist perception, okay? He's got a conflict interest. His political his experience is zero. And he's a Davos man, okay? Brexit missteps with England. Some UK critics blame him for fear-mongering during the Brexit situation. Fiscal concerns, his openness to running deficits might worsen Canada's debt burden. Centralized control, foreign citizenships. He holds British, Irish, and Canada. Who's he loyal to? Hasn't been around Canada for a while, and all of a sudden he pops in, and all of a sudden he's like the second coming? No. Trudeau's ties, corporate connections. Who's he bonded to? Environmental overreach, pushing ESG, environmental social governance mandates. Stifles business growth. He's weak on sovereignty as far as I'm concerned. And his finances, he's not transparent with them. That's for sure. His French language skills are a little bit desired. And he's unproven leadership. Okay, that's just some with Mark Carney. That's just some of his stuff. And if he gets in, this country is going to be a nightmare. Some of the things that the Liberals have done, because Carney himself has been advising Trudeau. What he's done is carbon pricing implementation. It's insane, the amount of carbon taxes put on everything for people right across the board. Deficit spending growth. Our debt in Canada has went from $616 billion in 2015 to $1.2 trillion in 2024. Immigration, it's surging here in this country. 500,000 permanent residents targeted for 2025, and our housing system is strained to the point where it's like it's breaking so bad because we have no room to put these people. It's crazy. The energy sector policies, the pipeline delays, Trans Mountain, that was in the Trans Mountain area. Bill C-69, the regulatory hurdles, like I said earlier, it's weakening Alberta's oil industry because it's capping everything that we can't sell our own goods. Foreign investment restrictions, tighter rules on housing speculation and foreign ownership, cooled markets, but scared off broader investment. The Emergency Act that was called on its Canadian citizens. It was illegal to do so, and when they did it, and it was decided by judges it was illegal. Censorship bills. I talked about BC 11 for 2 years, and they still passed it. That's why I can't get information from friends of mine in the States. I can't even get things on social media because they want to control the internet. I could go on and on and on. There are so many things, like climate targets. We haven't even hit our climate target, the 2030 emission goals that they wanted. It's 40% below the point that it was in 2005, right? This list goes on and on and on. I could be an hour just talking about it, but people want to vote these people back in. They want to vote back in these liberals. He's got 86% of the same people that Trudeau has, and you expect a change? It's insane when you think of it. Like, look at this. You can't fix a broken system using the same people that broke it. Like, I was just talking to a friend of mine just a little while ago. I told him the same thing. Military guy. And I said, it's like having the same leadership that screw shit up. And then 2 or 3 years later, have the same leadership. Is it going to get better? Or is it going to get screwed up? You change nothing. Nothing changes. It's as simple as that. You change nothing, and nothing changes. So here's another thing. Prime Minister Mark Carney blamed America's web pollution for spreading misinformation against him, including suspected ties to disgraced banker Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted sex offender. So Carney vows to censor the internet. Our internet's already censored, but they want to censor it even more. Why? Because they want to take away the abilities and the freedoms of people of this country to do what they want to do, to say what they want to say. It's about transparency. You want to be transparent. So here's Russell Brand talking about Mark Carney.
New leader of Canada appears to have peculiar connections to the case. Meet Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney, pictured here alongside notorious child sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell. This wasn't just any gathering, it took place at Carney's sister-in-law's estate, Cornbury Park, a known hotspot for globalist elites. That's pretty funny, isn't it? Where do these globalist elites hang out? Cornbury Park. Is Mark Carney a client of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell? Well, I suppose, is it possible to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein and not get tangled in some sort of sexual tryst? I certainly hope so, for Bill Gates' sake. Do you imagine that all elites ultimately meet up? I mean, didn't Trump's initial success come from saying, I know that they're corrupt because I use their corruption when campaigning against Hillary? So don't we expect and anticipate that elites commingle and interact? Let me know what you think in the comments and chat about that.
So there's Russell Brand talking about it, and the fellow that I played earlier.
This is...
Let's see what he has to say here.
Mark Carney. This is his wife, Diana Carney. And this is Ghislaine Maxwell, the recruiter for notorious pedophile Jeffrey Epstein's global child sex trafficking ring. Carney says he knew nothing of their crimes when he spoke to her at this party. But is that true? This photo is from 2013, 5 years after Epstein was first convicted of sex with minors. It was taken at the estate of Tanya Waltherwick, a British aristocrat who happens to be the one and only sister of Diana Carney. Tanya is known to be a close personal friend of Maxwell since high school. When Maxwell's father was arrested for his own crimes many decades ago, the Daily Mail reported that it was Tanya who she went to go cry to. And Jeffrey Epstein himself had 7 different numbers under Diana Carney's sister's name in his infamous little black book, 2 of which are for someone named Diana. Was Mark Carney really unaware of who Maxwell was? Or did he just not care? Who is Mark Carney?
So there you go. So there's another little clip. And I'll show you another clip. This is, again, Mark Dixon. Same one earlier. Here you go.
I'm going to blow your mind.
But that is Jeffrey Epstein's contact book. And if you're in that book, you have met the individual. So when Mark Carney is playing it off like he has no relationship, never met her, never met Jeffrey Epstein, that is an outright lie. And this confirms it, because his wife's number is in the book. His sister-in-law's number is in the book. His ex-brother-in-law's number is in the book. The wilderness party where he went to, Cornbury Park, is in the book. So it's not just a photo and a far reach to try and link them together. This is a direct link. So although I've been sitting on this information for quite a time, like I'm saying years, I never thought to look for this name because I didn't care about Mark Carney then. He wasn't running for prime minister of my country.
Exactly. That was Mark Nixon again. So there's a whole bunch of information there you'll never see on mainstream media. That is a fact. So here's another little clip here. It was in the paper, Canada Proud. The release date of Mark Carney's upcoming book, The Hinge, Time to Build an Even Better Canada. It's been suddenly delayed until July the 1st. I wonder why. Why is he delaying his book until July the 1st? Seems kind of weird. You know? Canadians simply cannot trust Mark Carney to put Canada first. Justin Trudeau said that he admired China exactly once, and he went on to allow China to openly interfere in our democracy. Mark Carney is on the record praising China dozens of times. Imagine what foreign interference could be allowed. You never know.
Mr. Carney, would you cut foreign aid from the current ODA and financing levels? And what is your broader vision for Canada when it comes to global development?
Okay. So the short answer is no. We will. My government will not cut foreign aid, and we will be releasing our platform soon, so you can see that. That is a direct contrast to Mr. Poilievres, who will not just cut foreign aid, but taking his cue from the Americans, he will eliminate foreign aid. He will eliminate foreign aid to those most affected around the world, most punished around the world.
So he's saying that he's going to keep foreign aid, keep dumping our money, our tax dollars, keep sending it overseas. You know, by the millions, by the billions, and who pays? Canada. We got to get control of that stuff. So Pierre Poilievres wants to get control of it. Nothing wrong with that. I say Canada first. What do you say? So here you go, Toronto Sun. Thank you for taking this vote. Says, do you trust Mark Carney to tackle the gun crime that exploded while his Liberals have been in power? 219 votes, yes. 4.2%. No. 95.76%. Total votes were 5,000. That was a little poll on the Toronto Sun in regards to that. That was just the other day. So here's another little clip. It's just a picture. It says, Mark Carney has a plan to make Canada safer for you and your family. This is from the CBC. Carney announces sweeping plans to crack down on crime and strengthen our border. Imagine that, right? Imagine. The Liberals have had 10 years to look after this stuff. 10 years to look after crime and our borders. But look what's happened. How much has crime risen in Canada in the past 10 years? How about homicide up 33%, auto theft 39%, theft over 5,000 49%, identity theft 121%, firearm crimes 136%, sexual abuse 141%. That's child sexual abuse up 141%, human trafficking 210%, extortion 429%, and child pornography 565%. Okay, Liberals, how are things doing on the crime so far? Come on. It's insane thinking that this is changing, that they're changing anything. Here's another one. Tax hike for thee, tax havens for me. You know why? Because this guy tucked money away in Bermuda. Billions of dollars through his company. And here's another one from the other day. This literally just happened the other day. Brookfield, his company, used the Cayman Islands for third fund managed by Carney. $5 billion went into this. $5 billion. Another one. See, Mark Carney's former company Brookfield has more than a dozen entities registered in Ugland House in the Cayman Islands, which has been described by Barack Obama as the largest tax scam in the world. That was just yesterday, April the 11th, that was done. It's crazy. Let's see what Mark has to say about this.
You were at the helm of a company that quite clearly registered much of its business in Bermuda to avoid paying taxes, including, as CTV News reported, registered to an address of a bike shop in Bermuda. You have said that this is the way the world works, and that in the case of pension funds, that leaves more money for pensioners. But in this case, it looks like just plain tax avoidance. This may be a legal practice, and as you say, as the world works, but is it ethical, Mr. Carney?
First off, I'm no longer at Brookfield. Secondly, this follows their arrangements follow the rules, including the tax rules of this country, other countries. And
You did not really respond to the question as to your opinion as to if it was ethical, but let me follow up on that. You wrote a book, Values. The thesis of that book was that capitalism or markets left to their own devices don't help humanity. For years, your party, the Liberal Party, has promised to stop the practice of tax avoidance that Brookfield and other companies have engaged in. Do you have the tools to do that? You said so. When are you going to release and tell Canadians what those tools are, and when will you implement them?
In terms of having a fair tax system in Canada, including for corporate taxation, it's absolutely a priority of my government. If we are re-elected, it'd be a priority of our government to ensure that our companies are paying their fair share of taxes.
How can you believe a person that uses tax shelters in Bermuda and the Cayman Islands to the tune of billions of dollars to avoid paying taxes in his own country wants you to pay taxes in your country? And if you didn't, you'd be charged or you'd go to jail. How can anyone believe that? Crazy. So here's another little clip where Carney wasn't happy when somebody asked him a question. This is his relationship with China.
Hi, Judah Melise, Globe and Mail. My colleagues have a story today about a Liberal candidate's relations with China-friendly groups and a meeting that you also held with a pro-Beijing group. So my question is, why did you meet with this pro-Beijing group, Jiangsu Commerce Council of Canada? And is the party okay with the fact that Liberal candidate Peter Yan has been so close with the Chinese consulate and China-friendly groups, given the public inquiry into foreign interference, says that this is a tactic China uses to exert influence?
Okay, well, I'm sorry, but you can't believe everything you read in the Globe and Mail. So in your question, and I guess in the
You can't believe everything you read in the Globe and Mail. That's what he said, right? It's funny because that's exactly what Trudeau said as well a while back. It says Mark Carney is continuing Trudeau's tradition of kicking off a huge scandal by lying about the journalists who uncovered it. This is what Trudeau said. The allegations in the Globe story this morning are false. That was about the J.C. Lavalin scandal when it was uncovered. Carney's now saying, you can't believe everything you read in the Globe and Mail. That was literally 2 days ago. Now, what's the question she asked him? It was about the Chinese and knowing this group in the Chinese government. How about Mark Carney with a straight face on TV denied ever meeting with the Jiangsu Commercial Council of Canada, the JCCC, the very group he is seen right here with center, front end. Look at that. See? That's Carney. Look at a big smile right in the middle of them. Isn't that something? Another one. Yep, that's it. That's him. Just so you know, it's him. And that fellow there was right behind Carney when he was asked the question about it. Didn't see him up forward and go, oh, yes, yeah, we did. Yeah, we were there. We know them. That stuff like that irks me because you know it to be true. And you have people that deny it. And you want to trust this person to be in charge to make your life better. I don't think so. Like right here. You want to believe that a jet-setting multimillionaire, global elite banker moved back to Canada because he got tired of money and he suddenly decided to get into politics to help out normal people. Yeah, that's never going to happen. What a shit story that is. What that tells me is there's people higher up that want him to be in charge for some reason. Why? Why do they want him in charge and not Pierre Poilievres? Because I believe Pierre Poilievres will be the harder man to deal with, and Pierre Poilievres wants to put Canada first. I can't believe some of the people that stood in the Liberal lineups when that were asked by David Menzies about why would they vote for Mark Carney or why they think he's the better man. And the answers that they gave was just bizarre. And some of them couldn't even think of one. You ask a Pierre Poilievres supporter what they believe in or why they would believe in to vote for the progressives, and they'll probably give you 10. They'll give you one real quick. I'll give you numerous ones. That fast. But we need to get our country back, everyone. We need to get our country back. And the only way to get our country back is to vote. We are in control. I've said this before numerous podcasts ago that they work for us. We don't work for them. And this is how we take back our country with a vote. Remember what happened with the trucker convoy and how our brothers and sisters in this country were treated. We got to take back our country by putting a little check mark beside the Progressive Conservative Party and show the Liberals who's in charge and who's the boss. It's that simple. That's all you got to do. So thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. It's much, much appreciated. Don't forget to share them, like them, and spread information that I gave you to other people to inform them what's going on in this country. And don't forget to go out and vote because the vote's coming up soon. I always like to end my podcast with everyone is going through something in their life. Everyone has troubles. Everyone has issues. But what you have to do, keep moving forward. You got to keep moving forward. Yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, and today is the present. That's why they call it a gift. So I'd just like to say thanks again for checking out my channel. I'm much appreciated. And everyone that I met in Kitchener, thanks for hanging in at the end of my channel. It was nice meeting you all, and spread the word. Cheers.